All right, guys, welcome back to the Snapshot Podcast. We're on episode 2, and today I will be interviewing and talking to Isaac. He's in the hot seat this time. All right, let's get started. All right, Isaac, let's get started with how'd you get into videography, into your video work?
Videography. Videography, I got into it about 4 years ago. So the first job that I kind of got into from videography was in real estate. So kind of at this point, like I had been doing YouTube already for about 6 years. I started in 2015. No, 4 years. So I started in 2015 creating videos, and then 2019 was when I got my first ever like videography job. So then basically with him, he was a real estate investor. He wanted to make videos on how to like how to train his people who also want to know how to do wholesaling. So I was just making a bunch of like training videos with him. And like I didn't even have my own camera at that point. So I was using whatever equipment he had, which was a Canon. So I'm a Sony user. And like I started off using Canon.
Yep, I use a Canon.
Right? I don't think we mentioned that in the last pod. Yeah, I'm a big on Sony. Both these cameras we're using right now are Sonys, and then Jeff is on the Canon.
Yeah, I don't have any particular favor or preference, but it's just something I've always used, and I've just stuck with it.
Yeah.
I know there's always beef between like Canon, Sony, Nikon, whatever, but I'm like, I don't know, I just shoot Canon.
Yeah. Like with that guy, I really had no choice. Like he was like, I have the camera equipment, like let's just use all my equipment. He had like a green screen and all that. So like at some points too, like if he wanted like a office background, I would just go on Google, get an office background, and then like chroma key to take off the background and put on whatever background I wanted. So that was kind of the first entry into just videography, because then after that that's where I started in real estate videography. So after I was working with him and he like going out to his properties and like filming and showing people what he does and like showing how he does his work, then that's when I got into like another real estate investor who he wanted to do a podcast, and then all his stuff was already set up. So like I was just there just to control the podcast. So I was like on the switchboard, switching cameras, or I would have to make sure the audio is good, but I didn't do anything of like setting it up or like knowing how to set up. Yeah. At that point, everything was already set up. I just had to manage it. So for the first, I would say 2.5 years was like that, where I still didn't have like a dedicated camera that I would like use to film client work. I just kind of used whatever equipment they had and just kind of started from there. But yeah, it's been a long journey of actually just creating content, making videos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you feel like has been your biggest growth process in getting from where you started to where you are now and doing what you're doing?
The biggest growth, I think the biggest growth was when I actually started just venturing into the whole fashion scene. So this was about 2020. Like I was just straight into real estate. I had already been working with a couple clients in real estate, just kind of filming everything that they do. And that kind of also got me to the point to where like what I do now, because I like when I started with that core group of real estate people, they were already kind of ahead of the game of content that nobody else in the real estate game was. So a lot of these guys ended up blowing up. I don't know, like if people know who Pace Morby is, he's one of the guys that I was working with. Now he has like 500K followers. He's like one of the biggest people for real estate. Like he has his own like way method that he uses to do real estate, and like he coined it, and I was one of the first people that he was working with. So just learning through all that. So once I got pretty well, like once I started getting pretty well into the real estate game and like learning how to make content and doing all that, in 2021 I think, that's when I met Daniel Walker.
Mahalia Project?
Yeah, from Mahalia. So I met him because he was also in real estate. So he also did real estate. He was working for another big time real estate investor at the time. And we ended up connecting. Nice. And from there, that's where like he started bringing me onto his shoots, and then that was like the pivotal moment for me, because like I was just doing just a bunch of like corporate, I wouldn't call it corporate because none of them were corporate, but it was very structured type work, to being a lot more creative and like doing like stuff with like the fashion or models or just anything in the entertainment space. So that was like, I would say like the pivotal moment was like doing the fashion stuff, and then just honing in on it and going to all these meetups. Really with Daniel, I kind of just went anywhere he, like if he needed something or if he needed something filmed, like I was always there. Yeah, I was always there. Like I would never charge him for work ever. Like since I was just learning too. So like at that time he was using a Red camera. So I was like, as long as I just learn how to film, because at this point I didn't even know how to film. Like I was already 5 years, 6 years into just creating videos, but I still didn't know how the camera worked.
So you were used to just turning on the camera and setting it up, but you didn't know the intricacies of like, one, how the camera works, but the techniques and stuff that filmmakers or cinematographers use to create really good videos, or videos are different. Yeah,
so like I didn't know any of those fundamentals. So like when I was first making YouTube videos, I just made my videos with a webcam. Yeah. So like it was just USB, just connected to my computer. That was it, and that was my recording. Yeah. So like I really had no equipment that like actually got me into knowing how a camera works, you know? And even when I did, like my very, very first camera that I got was like before my Nikon, like that I started vlogging on. That one again was a point and shoot, so I wouldn't even know if it was on record mode or photo mode. I would just hit the red record button and just start making my videos. So like when I got my first camera, that was the A5100. That's when I started kind of learning a little bit more. That's when we were kind of talking about before, where I would change my shutter speed and like that would change my lighting, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And then like this is where you just like learn kind of just how those settings affect your image, because like I would switch my shutter speed, but then when I would go into a Lightroom, I would just see like some like lines go through through the screen, and I'm like, why is it doing this? I'm like, my like the lighting looks good, but it's because like your rest of your camera settings aren't fit to what they're supposed to be, so it gives you that weird image.
Yeah, no, it's like that experimental phase that you're just trying things and trying to see what happens, but you don't know why things are happening the way they are, and that's how we learn.
Yeah. Like so, that's how I was doing at first. Like I didn't know anything. So like when I met Daniel, and Daniel at that time too, he was already 9 years in the game. Okay, like because I met him, I started asking him questions about how he started doing video. Same thing at that time, he was 9 years in. So then that's when I was like I need to follow this guy. Like I need to like be around him. And then from there, I was just kind of followed him kind of anywhere he went, helped him out, never charged him a penny. I even like sometimes we would go, like it was cool working with Daniel, because like he had a lot of connects in LA too. So like there was times where we would go to LA, and like again, I wouldn't get paid. I would do everything for free. I would even help him pitch in on like the hotel, because like that's just how much I wanted to know about this stuff, because he knew so much, like way more than me. So like I was just like, wherever this guy goes, I'm gonna follow.
Definitely one of those situations where working with someone or working under someone, even if you're not getting paid, you're learning things that are really gonna help you in the future. You know, I've done that a lot of times when I was starting out too.
So like whenever we'd go out for a shoot, I'd always tell him like, what camera setting are you on right now? Like what ISO are you at right now? Like how, like what settings, everything. I would ask him everything and look at the picture, and then and that way just asking questions that I didn't know.
How was the transition from you exploring more of the creative work, whether it's with fashion or whatever it is? How was the transition from the real estate towards that realm?
Way different. It's just two whole different worlds, because real estate, like nothing's moving. Everything's just in place, of course, like all the cabinets and stuff. So like you really had to figure out how to be creative on real estate videos than on like fashion shows or just fashion or models or stuff, because a lot of them already kind of like you can make them do interesting stuff, or if like you have a vision, you can come up with a cool storyboard. But in real estate, you couldn't really do much other than like what you see right now, and you're like, how can I make this look cool on camera? So then like the way I did it was just a lot of speed ramps. So that was like in 2021 ish. But
and what are speed ramps?
So speed ramps is like where I would stand on one corner of the room and basically walk slow all the way to the next corner of the room, and then in post-production I would speed up the part to where I was in the one corner, and I would speed that part up until I got to the main living room or whatever I was mainly filming, and then speed it up again once I go to the other corner. So and it looks like it's going fast and then slow and then fast. So and like it has a really cool transition that way. So I would do a lot of speed ramps, but speed ramps you can't really do in fashion because then it looks weird. You really have to like know when to use a speed ramp in fashion, because if you don't know how to use it, then their arms go and it looks all like fast and weird, and you're like, that doesn't look good.
Walking down a runway, like,
you're like, whoa. It's like, it looks weird. So like,
I know it's a runway, but you ain't supposed to run.
Yeah, right, dude. So I had to learn again, like how to be. It kind of helped me out in that way too, because it helped me be a little bit more creative in my real estate videos, because like I had to be kind of creative in the fashion industry. So that helped me a lot too, and like working with both of those industries.
So then two questions actually. How did you really get into the fashion side of things? Because I know you said with Daniel, he kind of introduced you more into the creative scene, but like what would you say is the moment or the thing that you did that really put you more into the fashion scene, and how did you adapt into that space?
Oh, dude, it's crazy. I have a video on it on my Instagram too, but the one thing that kind of just was the pivotal moment for me was the very first shoot that Daniel had invited me to. So it was in this studio like in downtown Phoenix, and he invited me out to that shoot. And there was another thing going on with like this team that I was really big on. They were called FaZe Clan, and at that time I was really big fans of them. And they were also having a meetup in Arizona that same exact day, same exact time that Daniel's shoot was. And then I was like, I just feel like Daniel's shoot is gonna be like more worth it.
Yeah.
So I went over to Daniel's shoot, and then when I was at his shoot, I just started recording my own BTS. And at that time I had the A5100. So I started recording my own BTS, and one of the people that was there, one of the girls, was Jocelyn from Corella & Co.
Yeah.
So like I did that video, and then I finished that video within like 2 days, or like maybe even a day, like a couple hours. I think I had it done the next day or the day after that. But like they really liked the video, they liked how it was edited, and they liked the fast turnaround time. So then from Daniel's shoot, again, like mind you, like I was really big on FaZe Clan, so it was a hard decision to either be like, I want to either meet the guys that like I grew up watching, or go to this shoot, you know. And like I ended up going to the shoot, and then I did that video. Then Corella & Co. really liked it, or Jocelyn from Corella & Co. really liked it. And then she was like, hey, we want you to do another shoot for us for our graduation of our first year models. And then that's where it really started changing, because I was like, okay, this is like the very first like modeling gig that I've ever had, and it was the first paid one too. So I was like, this is big. This is pretty, and like it was cool because like they had their own warehouse. They had a bunch of like student models, and like it felt super professional. So like I had to put myself in that mindset of like, I can do this, like I can make this look good, because that was my first ever real shoot that nobody else had control over other than myself. So then that was kind of like the first pivotal moment of like doing something on my own and creating like a good video from it. And then from there, Corella & Co. ended up really liking that graduation video, and then they ended up hiring me to film their next show, which was Fashion House Weekend. And then I did those shows, they liked those, and then they ended up hiring me again to film at Tempe Fashion Week. Nice. And then that's where, again, like you were one of those people where I would just see you around, and I'd be like, why does that guy get to go backstage, you know? Because I didn't know who you were, and like I could only be like up in the front type of thing, you know. So like I was like, why does that guy get to go backstage? And then same thing with Alex too. I would see him around, but I didn't really know Alex at that point. I just knew that I saw you go backstage a lot. I'm like, how is he doing that? How is he there?
That really is always a flex when like you're at these shows and events and you have enough credibility where you can just like, I'm just gonna go here. I'm just going here, and no one questions it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So like that was like one of the first things that when I saw that, I was like, I gotta get to know this guy somehow. And it took basically like a year until like I actually met you.
Cause I remember that. Tempe Fashion Week, they had year 1, year 2. Were you involved with year 2?
I don't think I was just year 1.
I wasn't involved with year 2 either. But then from there, went to Arizona Fashion Week, and then eventually we were able to work together and do what we did there.
Yeah.
Which we talked about a bit in the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What we did was super iconic.
But yeah, dude, that's again when I first saw you, and then like the very next one, I think was the Barrett Jackson show, the Arizona Fashion Week Barrett Jackson, and then that's again where I just saw you there, and then like. I think a couple months after that was when we had that art gala. Daniel invited me to it, so I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. And then that's where I met you, and then that's when we kind of got in contact.
That is when we first met.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, dude, it was a big pivotal moment. That's why, like, to me, it's like up here. I'm like, damn, that was big. I forgot who you were with, but like, I just remember you were big in the fashion industry, and I was like, Jeff is the guy. He's the guy to talk to.
The Sarth Gallery, and I think they invited me out there too, just to attend the gallery because they wanted gallery openings, right?
Yeah.
And they were big on like the influential people who were part of the art scene, which is super cool. But no, I remember that. Yeah, we ended up talking for a while, just talking about fashion, talking about the things that we were doing. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. I don't remember too much of it, but yeah, that was the first time that I met you, and then from there I think everything that we got into our meeting and then kind of talked about a lot of stuff from there. But that was a big moment.
I love that. And then with everything we've done in the fashion industry out here, what are some of the goals that what are your goals for moving forward with the fashion scene, or in general, actually?
I have quite a bit of goals. So like in the fashion scene, like it's kind of just what this podcast is for. So kind of how we explained it. I want to be able to tell the story behind these fashion shows, like show people who these designers are, why they're making these clothing, who are these models that are going to be wearing their clothing, their emotions, like all this stuff tells the story of the show. And like that's kind of what people want to see. So like that's one of the goals that I have, at least for fashion, is I want to be basically that person that tells the story of the shows. And like I've got a good gist of how to create that content consistently and really show that story. So in the fashion scene, that's where I really want to hone in on, is just showing people the story behind the shows for all the big people, not just in Arizona. Like we're talking like Miami Swim Week or like LA or New York or Berlin, fucking all the big ones. Like all of them need to tell their story. They would be so much bigger if they told their story. So that's the one thing that I really want to, that's one of my bigger goals in the fashion industry.
I think we definitely want to change the content game with the fashion industry as a whole. But not just Arizona, but all the fashion shows. It's like I think we've talked about this, where they're losing out on opportunity or the ability to really market their brand by not focusing on the people who are involved. Yeah. And they all have stories to tell. They all want to tell their stories.
Facts.
And people love a come up. People love a good story. They want to be invested in what this person is doing, how they got there, what they're doing next, I mean,
100%.
It's kind of like what we're doing right now, which is you and I. We're telling our stories and then eventually telling the stories of others.
Yep. Exactly. So, no, yeah, it's been dope. And then that's just for fashion. So, like I also want to do a lot more with like concerts and stuff. So I want to at least pick up some more concert gigs. So I've done about 6 concerts, but they've been like one of the concerts was 2 weekends and they had multiple artists in those.
Yeah.
So I kind of count that as a concert, but it's the same concert, but just multiple artists.
What are your favorite type of gigs?
Favorite type of gigs? I mean, just anything really in the entertainment space right now. Yeah, like anything that I can make a really cool edit out of. So like, I just think like right now, like the fashion and then concerts, that's like the perfect two niches that I want to be in. Cause like they're just both super creative. It's like live stuff too. Like you just have to know when to get that shot, you know, cause it's way different from like planning stuff out and then doing a shoot compared to like recording stuff live. Like how we kind of mentioned in your podcast, like if you're not like ready to take that picture in the moment, you're going to lose it and you're never going to have that chance again. So like, that's one thing that's really cool about doing live shows is that shot, you know, like, especially when like in like concerts and stuff, when like the artist has like the mic up and they're doing all that stuff and like you get the perfect shot where like you have the light and then if there's like smoke and then you see the beam of the light, you're like, that's the fucking shot, you know. That I love shows like that, to where even in like the fashion, to where something pops up and you're like, that's the shot, you know, this is the money shot. And like that always brings me joy. It's just seeing those shots and being like, hell yeah, I did that.
What's some of the favorite shots that you've gotten, shots or video work or moment that you captured that is your favorite that stands out to you from different shows or concerts?
Well, dude, one of the bigger ones that I think one of my best ones was literally the Arizona Fashion Week Day 2 at the air park. Remember where Erica came out of the private jet, like that shot, dude. Because like I remember I told you, I was like, I want this shot, Jeff. I was like, I want this shot. This is gonna be so good.
I remember. Since I was leading media, I was like, Isaac, you're here. This is your spot. Everyone else get out of the way. This is Isaac's spot.
Dude, yeah, that shot was just like, it's so good because it was planned out very well, and like the whole choreography of it was super well. So like that was one of my favorite shots that I've gotten. Also just some like concert shots, again, like those just shots where like the artist has like the mic up, or if they're doing like like if they're jumping and I'm filming at 120, slowing that down, it looks super cool. So like I would say one with Flow Rider. I had one with Flow Rider where it was super cool. I think I posted it not too long ago, but he had like the mic, and as he was going down, he was like fist pumping, and I was like, this is such a dope shot.
Like, that's the one.
Yeah,
so it's like when you get it, you know it. You're like, oh, that's it.
dude. I just, again, those are my favorite types of thing about the live stuff. Is just like, because again, if you miss those shots or like the next videographer didn't get those shots, you're the only one that can ever have that shot again. Yeah. You know, I don't know. To me, that just seems pretty cool.
No, I agree. I mean, I feel like as visual creators or people who are documenting a moment, that's definitely what we live for.
Yeah.
And then what are some of the brands or artists that you would love to work with? Like a dream brand or a dream artist? Or celebrity or whoever.
I mean, kind of my main thing was, the reason why I started doing this whole video stuff in general was to work or to join a team called FaZe Clan. So FaZe Clan, I've been following them since 2015. Like, they're the reason why I started. Yeah. Right now, they're like, they were at the time just one of the biggest gaming organizations, biggest teams, and like just my whole time of doing videos, that was my goal. Like, I want to work with these guys, and whether it's like work with them, film something with them, or join the team, I want to be a part of that. So that was my original goal that I've been wanting to do basically forever. And just like, so stuff didn't go too well with them, like just their business and all that, and it kind of like had a reset. Okay. So that was like a reset for me too, because like for me that was the only thing I wanted, you know, the only thing. So like when that was gone, I was like, well, now I gotta figure something else out. Like, what now? Like, what do I want to do? Because like that was the only thing that I wanted, you know. So like, now the big brands that I just want to work with are just like the bigger kind of fashion shows. Like if I could do something out of the country, like Paris Fashion Week or Berlin Fashion Week, and again, show that story, film the behind the scenes, like vlog that, show just every piece of content of being there. I think those would be the stuff that I would really want to do. As of right now, I don't really have like any like, I guess, artists or anybody that I've wanted to shoot. I mean, because like the only people that I really wanted was just FaZe. Like they were like the top of the top, you know. Like as of right now, like I don't know. That's one that I haven't really thought about because like I've just always had one goal. So I'm like now I'm figuring out who I want to shoot for, you know. But any opportunity would be dope. Like if any kind of music artist came up to me and was like, "Hey, I want to film your stuff," or "I want you to film my stuff," like I'd jump right on it, you know. But yeah, like as of right now, there's not really like any big like influence or anything like that I would want to work with other than them. Like if once they come back up, once they come back up, then it's like back to them, you know, because we'll get there someday.
Yep, when that time comes, you'll be ready.
Yeah.
What are some of the mistakes that you feel you've made along the way?
Yeah, there's been a couple. I mean, I wouldn't say there's been not a lot like big mistakes that I've made probably in the past like 2 to 3 years. I think probably in the past 2 to 3 years, I think I've made a lot of good decisions. But the past, even before then, like when I was making YouTube videos, I think that's where I learned a lot of mistakes. And like nowadays, I implement a lot of the stuff that like I failed back then now, to where it's like I don't do that stuff anymore because like I know it doesn't work, or I know like this can kill your channel. So like one of the biggest mistakes that I made back in the day that like now like I know is like something not to do is completely change your niche or completely change the type of videos that you make. Okay. So like when I was making YouTube videos back in like 2016, making my shift to like into 2017, like at that time in 2016, I was making just a lot of Call of Duty videos or like videos like into gaming and just gaming stuff. So when I started college, I started making vlogs in college, and like those videos blew up. Like they got like 700, 500, 600 views, while my other Call of Duty videos would get like 100, maybe 200 at the most, but it'd be like around the less than 100 range. Yeah. So when I made that vlog, I was like, okay, vlogging is what I'm gonna do now. It did really good. Like people want to see that. Yeah. But my biggest mistake was that I just switched up the content from one week to the next. You know. Like there was no like, hey guys, like I'm switching content. It was like literally just 1 week I was like, I'm starting vlogging. It's like I'm doing RL stuff.
So how would you change it up now? Knowing what you know now, if you were to make that type of shift, how would you advise people to do it?
I mean, just taking it slowly. Yeah, just going into it slowly, like doing a video of whatever topic that is, maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks, but like slowly making that shift and making them a little bit more often until like that's kind of what people are seeing you more as. When I switched over that content to doing just straight RRL, there was a lot of just people who like they followed me for gaming. So when I switched up to IRL, like right away, like I just started seeing like numbers falling, dude. And then I was like, I was down bad, bro. I was like, that's when I made a video where I was like, I want to quit. Like, I don't know how to do this anymore. Like, I'm not getting, and it does get to you. Cause like, if you get a lot of views at one point, like, I mean, at that time, like 700, 500 views was kind of a lot, at least to me, 2015, 2016.
Yeah, that's early on social media and all that stuff. So
yeah, so that was quite a bit. So like when 2017, 2018, 2019 came and like my views started being like less than 100, I was like, I don't know if I should still do this. Like no one watches my stuff. No one keeps up with me. Like no one comments anymore. No one does anything. So then that's when I had to just basically pivot into another direction.
How'd you deal with that though? Deal with that lack of engagement, I guess, or just because you weren't getting the responses that you were used to getting before?
I mean, I just kept on making content because like I did want to quit like at that time because like just views weren't the same. Subscriber, like I wasn't gaining as many subscribers as I was. Like at that time, I was gaining literally like 50 subs a day or like 20 subs a day, and then it started going to like 1 and then 0, and then I wouldn't get subs for like a period of time. So like it really got to me at first, and like I really wanted to quit, but I just couldn't. Like the more like whenever I would just not do a video on YouTube, I would just feel bad. You know, like even if I skipped a week on not making videos, I would be like, I'm letting down still some people who want to see my content. Yeah. Like I'm letting those people down. So like that's one thing that like just kept me going is like not really, again, like I love making videos too. That was another thing is like I just couldn't see myself not creating content, but also just the fact that like I knew that there was still some people that enjoyed watching my content, and I wasn't the type of person to just quit it there and just be done. Cause then I don't know, like I was just like, there's people who want to watch.
What would you say are probably 3 of the biggest lessons that you would give to content creators right now? Whether it's someone who is starting off or someone who is just kind of trying to build their brand, build their channels, build whatever it is that they're doing. Again,
it's just super generic, but you just have to do it. Like you just have to be in it every single day. Like even like for me, when I started vlogging, like not even too long ago, it feels awkward. It really does. Like especially when I put my camera down in like just random places, it feels awkward. But I have to put myself in that mentality of like, this is what I do. Like I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like just doing stuff like that and like trying new things, like trying different angles or like starting off your video a different way. Like there's a lot of people who just don't know how to make content because they're afraid to start. Because the more content you do, like you'll learn what's working and what's not working and how to edit it differently. Maybe like you did one thing in one video that worked really well and you're like, let me try that again in this video. Or you see something in one video that you're like, maybe I should implement that in my video. So there's always a learning curve for everything. So even if someone's just starting out, like just doing it, like getting that practice of like just knowing where your angles are, knowing your composition, all that stuff will sooner or later you'll start figuring out how to do it.
Yeah, because I definitely feel like being in this field of content creation, visual media, photography or video, one, just do it, but we have to really be willing to fail if we want to grow. Mm-hmm. Like we'll never know if something's going to work until we do it. And it's like, oh, that was great. That had a better outcome. Or, yeah, let's not do that again.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, it takes a while because like one of the first things that I started doing kind of before I even got into fashion was I also really wanted to get into product ads.
Okay. Yeah.
So like I had done a couple like videos, like again, like it goes back to that one thing to where I said in your podcast where I always want to do something with intention. Mm-hmm. So even at this time when I was making product ads, I would go into Walmart and I would just look at the snack aisle and anything that was like a collaboration or anything that had some kind of cool picture on the cover of it, I would use that to make an ad for it. And then I would tag whoever like made that brand, whatever. I would try to tag them, and then my goal was to have that brand comment on it. So like nice. I did about 4 of those, and I did one with Stella Rosa in like 2020. I think it was during COVID. And again, I just did a product ad. I wanted it to be super moody, all black, like very little lighting. And I did that product ad, and Stella Rosa actually ended up commenting on it, and they were like, "Wonderful video," and I was like, "Yes, yes." But that was my 4th one until one of them finally commented, you know. But all the other ones, like, I didn't know how to make product ads, you know. I was like, I just watched the guy on YouTube, and I saw how he was doing it, and I was like, let me try it, you know. Yeah. And like product ads are. Sometimes you have to get super creative to get that shot for product ads, because like if you want stuff floating, you can either do all the post-production work to have something float, or you can stick it on a skewer and remove the skewer, and there it's already just floating. But then again, you have to figure out how to put the skewer to like put it in different directions, or if you needed it up, down, then you needed to have some kind of thing to hold it from not falling straight down. So there was like just so much of a learning curve in creating like product ads that, again, like I wouldn't have learned if I didn't just start doing it.
So we have just do it, create with intention.
Create with intention.
And what would you say would be a third lesson that you think is important that people that you would like to impart on people, content creators?
Another one. Let's see, what would be another one? Let's see.
Another one.
Yeah, like DJ Khaled. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, just like learning. I mean, just knowing the analytics, I think, of like videos is huge, because like once I started, because I think that's also another big mistake that I made actually when I was first starting, is I wasn't analytical. So like I didn't know what the analytics meant. I would click on analytics, but I didn't even think about what I was looking at. Rather than today, I'm very analytical. I go into my analytics and I check like where people are watching my video, like if I'm able to see the retention rate, where those spikes are, like what's interesting about that spike, why do they go back? I want to know all this stuff so then it can help me make better videos for the future. So like that one, like I made a vlog where like I recently, like I masked my house and then I basically jumped over my house, but in reality, like I'm standing in front of the house and I just jump and then I mask out the house to where like it looks like it's in front of my feet.
Yeah.
But that was something that like I saw in another video that I was like, that really caught my attention. I want to try it. So, and then like I look back at my analytics and then that part spikes. It's because like, again, like it's something that intrigued me. So I'm like, let me try it too and see if my way will intrigue the next person. And it did with that little spike.
A little spike.
But yeah, like being analytical, I think that's also helped me a lot in just like knowing how everything works now and like being able to know what makes a good video.
Yeah, I was going to ask that actually. How do you differentiate between making a video and creating content? Like, well, in your words, how would you separate the two?
So again, like how I was saying, yeah, with like making a video, like anybody can make a video. You can just grab your phone and hit the record button, and there you're recording a video.
Anybody with the phone is a video person or a photographer. Just like click, click, click.
Yeah, like that to me is just making videos. Is like you don't know what you're doing. You can just pick up your camera, start recording, and that's a video. Rather than creating content is something to where now you have a story behind the videos that you're making and something that people have to follow. Like content, people can binge your content, but people can't binge making videos or watching your videos, or
it's
like
very repetitive pretty quick.
Yeah, like if you make content, like the content has to have a story behind it in order for people to keep binging it and watching it through. Rather than like a video, I feel like just it doesn't really have that aspect to it of like there's no substance to a video rather than like content.
So with we kind of talked about this in the last podcast with me, where we talked about the things that we want to build towards with Snapshot and with all the different fashion shows in fashion industry. In your vision, what is it that you want things to move towards? Like, what's your goal with that? What's your overall vision? What do you want to accomplish with it? Yeah.
With which one again?
With Snapshot in general.
Oh, with Snapshot?
Yeah.
I mean, I just love, like, at this point, I think I just love, like, telling the story of other people. So with Snapshot, that's what I want to do. Whether it's, like, I mean, the main thing is, like, telling the story behind the fashion brands. But, like, just telling the story just in general, like, what we do, kind of how we got to where we are. Because that's what everybody wants to see nowadays. Yeah. Like, you go to Netflix, how many series do you see now? It's all about the stories.
So many docuseries and all this other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always and like, because that's what people want to see. Like, people want to see that story, just like F1, dude. Like, do you know?
Yeah,
like,
that was a fun experience,
dude. I believe F1 got big because of their show on Netflix.
Okay.
And it's because this show told people who these racers are, showed the drama, showed like really how racing is, rather than like if you just see it on TV, like you don't get any of that. You know who the names, but that's it. You just know names. But it's really that story that they did on Netflix that I feel made F1 what it is. Because like that's what got me into it. Like I didn't know the names of any of these racers or anything like that until I started watching the show, and then that's when you just get hooked because you feel like you know these people, you know.
You hear that, fashion? That's what we're bringing to the table.
Exactly. Yeah. So like it goes the same with like a designer or a model. Like if you follow a model really closely and then you see him on the runway, now it's a different feeling, you know. Now it's like, wow, like I feel like I know this person's story as they're walking through, and it just makes it that much better and enjoyable to be sitting there because like now you know the story.
I definitely feel like that applies to like designers, stylists, makeup artists. It's one thing to see the clothes going down the runway, but then to hear the inspiration behind why the designer did what they did or created what they did or how they got to the point that they are can be very inspiring, very just something that stands out to where you're like, oh, wow, I'm invested now.
Yeah.
I'm invested in the growth of this individual who has created something that they're passionate about. We've been talking about this for almost a year now. We kind of scratched the surface last year with Arizona Fashion Week. And like we talked about this in the last podcast where it's like we were surprised at what we were able to accomplish with our strategy and the things that we developed, the ideas, and just playing with the algorithm and creating the content and just seeing what it can do. And then after doing what we did, other fashion weeks started literally copying what we were doing.
Yeah.
It was actually very noticeable and immediate. We're like,
you want to tell them the name?
Nah, I won't throw anybody under the bus. But it literally shocked me that for years, these different fashion weeks who have been out here for a while just never did it. And then the first year that we do it,
they start copying.
For this specific fashion week, they start replicating the same process.
And you notice like right now they're not doing that anymore?
Yeah.
Because right now we're not.
Exactly.
You know, because like
they don't know how to do it.
They don't know how to keep it up. Yeah. And especially like the content wasn't even as at the level that we had it. Like we had such professionally done content, like from the cover photos to the graphics to the videos to the editing. Everything was so professionally done that when they try to do it, like it just showed that it just looked like they weren't even trying, you know?
It was funny because it was all that, but it also went far deeper in like our understanding of the algorithm and social media and playing off of it to really reach the engagement that was unheard of. I mean, I don't know if we want to get into the numbers of it, but like we grew an account organically by 1,000 followers in like a month.
I mean, we can say probably like at the analytics, because I mean, one of the things that we did mention in that meeting was that we can bring in 100,000. Or no, I said 500,000. I was like 500,000, but I was like at least 100. Like that, I can guarantee is 100,000. Yeah. And I think we got close, right? Or did we hit it?
So we got close. So I don't know how to break this down, but I know full-heartedly like you that if it was to the shows, by the time we got to the shows, we would have built enough momentum to get it to that number, 100 to maybe 120 average engagement viewership per month. In just the first month through casting before we even got to the shows, and this is like, what was it, like 4 or 5 months before the actual big shows because there's a momentum.
Yeah.
We got it from an average of 4 to 5K a month.
It was like 5,
to 30 to 35K a month. And just the first month through casting before we even really told the stories of all these different people. We only scratched the surface. Yeah. And we're like, wow, that's impressive.
Dude, it could have been huge, bro. Like, because again, there was so many things that like wasn't posted that could have done so much better. Even like, because I'm telling you, remember I was planning that whole documentary series of like the whole show, like literally start to finish. And I have all that footage. I still have all that footage from like the time that we got in that meeting to discuss everything to the shows. All of that is all documented that I was going to create a documentary for, but
just a quick backstory. We did not fully implement our strategy the way we wanted to. So we never actually reached our goal. at the end.
We were just limited. Like some of the people just didn't see that same vision that we had. I get it because like it's so new that like a lot of people don't see it, especially in the fashion industry. A lot of people don't see it because it's so new and they probably never seen it happen themselves. But it's just something that I've seen it happen in another industry that I'm like, all you need to do is just pass it over to the next.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard to sell someone on a vision that they've never seen before.
Yeah.
I think this is also why we're so adamant and passionate about doing what we're doing now, is because like we gave results. We know what we can do. Now, instead of waiting for a different organization to give us what we need or not limit us, let's just do it ourselves, show it, prove it, and then get the big shows and the big fashion weeks or even organizations, whatever it ends up being, be like, yo, we want you to come to our thing and tell the stories.
Because
that's what I'm most excited for.
Like we've done it before, especially because like Arizona Fashion Week was just like the trial. Because like that's what because I use that, like, again, like everything's done intentionally. Like all those videos, even if they weren't posted, I still use those videos to send out emails to like other like concerts or like entertainment brands. I would send out those videos and be like, oh, I've done this before with this brand, I can do this with your brand as well. But like everything that I did, I would just always repurpose and use it as leverage to get the next job.
Oh, that's a quick side note for any content creators. Whatever you create, even if you're not able to use, even if the client or whoever doesn't approve what you were creating, you can always still use it for yourself to leverage yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's something that a lot of content creators, videographers, photographers, whoever forget. Like, we don't always only have to show what the client approved. When it's our portfolio, it's our portfolio. It's your work. Show your work to the truest form, because those are the clients and the people that you want to hire you. Little TED talk.
There you go. Yeah. There was a lot that I've gotten into like over the past like 9 years that I've been making videos now. But like the fashion industry is just one thing that I really want to hone in on, and I just know there's just so much potential in it. So, and then we've done it. We've already done it once, so I'm sure we can do it again and again and again. So I'm looking forward to it.
As for a quick closing statement, what is one advice you would give to someone who is just starting?
And like the regards of like content or starting filming?
I would say both. Maybe a combination of both. Like from you, what advice would you give?
I think the biggest thing again would be just to make videos and to just be analytical of how those videos are doing. Because again, like I think that's the biggest thing that's helped me the most in just like growth, is when I started being very analytical on my videos, like knowing what makes a good video, how this video is going to reach my target audience. Because like you can make videos and you can just, all that's going to help, all that, like the more you make videos, it's going to help you with the practice. But the next part of it is knowing how to make a good video. And that's where it goes into just knowing how the analytics work and knowing which videos did well and what parts and how you can reuse that part or make it different for the next video and stuff like that, to always keep leveling up the content. So that's like the biggest thing. Again, I always think like my biggest thing too is like create with intention. If you're not creating anything with intention, like,
then what are you doing?
There's not really too much that you can do with that. So always create with intention.
All right. Well, you heard it from Isaac. Create from intention. As we continue doing snapshots, follow the stories, keep up with us, and we'll see you at the next podcast.
Let's go. What is our next podcast?
Episode.
What will be our next one? Will we have a guest? Or will we just talk about show experience? I think that should be the next one, our show experience, like all the shows that we've been through and our experiences in those shows.
I was going to say they'll be as surprised as we are, but I think that's a good route.
We're still coming up with some videos. But
we got some fire stuff coming for you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Stay ready.
Stay tuned. We'll see you guys in the next one.
All right, man. Have a
peace.